Freeze frame!
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Comic Book Roundtable. I'm your host, Vera, and this is my lovely guest. How is everybody doing tonight?
I'm doing
Don't
great.
ask if you don't care.
You know this is going to be the most highly rated of all your videos after this.
No, I sure will. We're such a lovely group of people. Sitting right next to me, I have Satan.
Hello. Hellspawn. Call me Hellspawn.
Hellspawn, and then next to that we have another brethren of Hell, Hellboy.
Hey, just keep them coming.
And next to that, of course, we have the wonderful Red Hood.
Yeah, how's it going?
And then the dummy clear on the end.
How's it going?
Oh, lovely.
Okay, let's talk some comic books. What do we want to talk first? It's been a great week as far as I'm concerned, as far as comics go. Pleasantly surprised by a lot of things, so looking forward to talking whatever. What do we want to talk?
Whatever you want. Go ahead.
Let's just jump right into DC. Let's do DC first this week.
All right.
Because we all love DC, and everybody hates it when I start out with DC first. Let's talk DC first.
I have a small DC pull actually this week, so.
Yeah, mine's not too bad either.
Okay.
Books I know we all read. Or most of us read anyway. Let's talk Arkham Manor.
Ooh, okay. Go ahead. I'll talk.
So what do we think of Arkham Manor?
I really liked it.
The premise basically being that that bad stuff happened to Arkham Asylum. They need a new place to house the crazies at, and so the city government uses some bylaws and takes over Wayne Manor to house all the lunatics in, right?
I have a couple of questions right off the bat because I'm not reading Eternal. I dropped it to do trade. This hasn't taken place yet, right? Like this event, because it says after 30, and 30 hasn't come out yet.
Correct.
Am I right?
30 is next week.
So why didn't they wait till next week to bring it out then, when that event actually occurs?
I don't think
it
it'll
seems
really tie into the continuity anyway, even if when
Yeah.
30 comes out. I don't think it'll be explained,
yeah.
because
I don't know.
I don't know. I can't imagine they're wrapping everything up in issue 30 that is going on with Arkham the way they've been going.
Right. Well, here in a few moments we'll get into Batman Eternal, and Batman Eternal. I think things are just starting there, not ending. But I don't know. They must end next issue because, of course, this issue it tells us that Arkham Asylum falls in. It kind of explodes and falls into a giant, I don't know, green heap. It looks like.
Yeah, and that was kind of the more interesting story for me for a bit there when I was reading Eternal, was what was going on in Arkham Asylum. And so for me, I think I'd have been furious to have that spoiled like that. That seemed like an event that would have kind of led the comic, so that kind of bothered me. I would have been pissed if I had been reading Eternal.
Well,
No.
aside from that, I think this just has to be taken separate from continuity, because Batman, after Batman Eternal, number 30 is going to be so busy cleaning up all of Gotham, he's not going to be solving one murder in Arkham Asylum, right? This is really just taking place off in a little Batman pocket by itself, in my opinion. I like it, but I don't think it's legitimately part of the continuity. I don't know. That's my take on it.
Well, it is part of the continuity. It's just the timeline is exactly how this all lands is screwed up, right? I mean, when you say it's not in continuity, that would lead me to believe that in the real DC universe, Wayne Manor isn't taken over by the crazies.
Okay, but in the real DC universe, after issue 30 in Batman Eternal, I doubt Batman will have the time to do what he's doing in this issue.
Right, agreed. The timeline
Tying it so tightly time-wise is kind of useless in my mind.
Yeah.
That's the view from hell, anyway.
I like the issue. I'm still having problems coming to grip with the fact that even though it's the thing the rest that Mom and Dad would have done, I still just have a hard time with Batman rolling over and letting. I mean, there was some anguish in the comic. You know, they write some anguish about him going, you know, either I'm going to let him do it or I'm going to blow the place up. You know, I mean, they had that panel of him there with all the dynamite sitting down there like he's going to blow the place up.
Okay.
I don't know. I still just have a hard time. I mean, I thought it was a cool comic, don't get me wrong, but I still have a hard time swallowing the idea that there is no Wayne Manor now. That
would it have been better if it was an Elseworld? This really made me like Batgirl more, I'll say that much. But would this have been better if it was an Elseworld?
No. I'd still just personally have a hard time buying into the fact that Bruce hangs on to old stuff like crazy, right? He just does. Yeah. I mean, that's part of why he is what he is. So to allow his personal home, someplace he grew up, they do a decent job, I think, in here of showing him kind of walking down memory lane as he steps into his house going through the front door.
Yeah.
I hope there's more of that. I hope there's more anguish along the way. That we didn't just get this. We didn't get 5 pages of anguish and now he's in secret detective mode and we're just gonna not address that anymore. Not address the fact is that he's that this has been his life. His whole life has basically been here, and now it's basically being soiled by the despots that he despises, that he goes up against all the time, right?
Yeah.
That
just seems weird to me.
Those parts you just talked about, walking through the door and stuff like that, that threw me back to Arkham Asylum, that story by Morrison for some reason.
No, yeah, that's good.
I approached this book as Arkham Manor #1. I haven't read I'm on issue 25 on Batman Eternal now, so I'm not as versed as you guys when it comes to Eternal. I read it monthly, actually. I don't read it weekly. I enjoy it better that way. So, but as a, Arkham Manor #1, that's how I approached it. I loved it. I thought it was great. I could see this happening now, and I think Damien mentioned in continuity. Like, yeah, I could see it. And then the art was, it suits the story. I had no issues with the art whatsoever. And you're right, Travis, about Bruce Wayne, Batman holding on to certain things and stuff like that. I really like that shot where he's in the Batcave and he only kept the portrait of his mom and dad there. That was I don't know why. I'm super excited for this book for some reason. I don't know. It seems kind of, I don't know, fresh, kind of in a way to me. I don't know. I really liked it, but
No, yeah, and I'm not saying I didn't like it. I actually really enjoyed it. I liked the art. I mean, it's a different style of art as far as how Batman's betrayed really big chin and some of that stuff. So it's a little more caricature than than the 4-color traditional superhero kind of a look to it. But I still thought it was a pretty. I enjoyed it. Like I said, I enjoyed it. To me, it just seems really, really strange.
Mm-hmm.
And it almost feels like there should have been more of a fight over the place. I don't know.
Maybe that will be in Eternal.
Sorry.
Did they also say that Bruce Wayne lost his money or can't get a hold of his money right now?
Yeah, there was some piece in there, wasn't it? That
I guess that's another continuity thing that bothered me. But I liked that it's a more stripped down book, that it's focused on just a narrow thing, and I feel like that's very fresh and good at this moment.
I could see this becoming, and I think what my main interest in this is this could be very villain-centric, and I think that's a Batman book that I could actually say, okay, we need this. They kind of got rid of the last one, and if it's done right and it's written well, it's going to be worth checking out. I noticed, though, in when you were going over the solicitations, that dead body was on the cover, so I'm wondering how long they're going to stretch out that storyline.
Jack Shaw.
Yeah. Well, yes, that's the other part of this whole thing. At the end of this, it sets up, kind of a different premise. I mean, we've seen it used a little bit, at least in the past, in the recent past. he's going undercover. He has created a name for himself, created this character, and he's going undercover as some sort of a crazy criminal, and getting himself inducted into Arkham so he can figure out who this murderer is.
I love that Batman.
So it could be some fun stories. It could be some really creative stuff, I think.
No matches Malone, though. Come on.
But matches Malone isn't crazy.
Yeah, that's right.
If you were going to Blackgate, he would go as Matches Malone, right?
Yeah.
He's got to create something different to go to Arkham.
Yeah.
Did anyone go into this book with a little bit of apprehension that Jerry Duggan was writing it?
I did. I'm not gonna lie.
Did too. And he did a great job, actually. I thought it was well written. I love the dialogue.
Well, if you look at it by itself, it's good. I think where the criticisms start coming in is when you go, okay, where does this fit into the main Bat universe right now?
I totally left that out on purpose when I read this, and it was. Maybe that's why I enjoyed it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I do have a beef with that. I have a beef with the fact of how many of these DC books are jumping out in front of the weekly book that's supposed to change Gotham into whatever it's going to be changed into.
Yeah.
From a person who's embracing as much of that as I am, that sucks. I think that there's so many of these books are
anchored to it. Right.
Well, the Batman book. Oh yeah, when Batman Eternal is completely done, this is what it's going to be. This book only missed by a week because Batman Eternal number 30 is next week, so it only missed by a week. That doesn't bother me as much, but it's still kind of ridiculous. Catwoman doesn't jump it quite as bad, but still kind of feels like it does to some degree. So that is frustrating. That's frustrating about the whole thing. I think from a collector and person who's reading as much of this as we are, that kind of it cheapens some of the stuff for me anyway.
Mm. Good.
Anything anybody else wants to say about it?
I have a theory, but I don't know if you want me to go on a rant this early in the show.
Oh no, go ahead. That's why we're here.
I'm starting to think Scott Snyder watched the Christopher Nolan movies and he went, I can do it better. And he's trying to recapture it in his own way. He has the Riddler do Bane's plan. He has the Joker's plan where he can't use the mansion anymore and he has to move downtown, like in The Dark Knight. I think he's just redoing those movies and trying to do them better in his own way. It's a dumb theory, but it's something like that came to my mind while I was reading.
No, it's actually not, because I tweeted Travis after the first issue of Azurier, and I said, Travis, it felt like I read this before. It felt like I watched this in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And so yeah, you're just Camp. It's true. I know what you mean. I agree with you.
And I don't like the fact, because we were complaining about the Future's End month, but now it feels like if you're not reading Batman Eternal, you can read probably Batgirl and Red Hood, and that's about it right now. And not have things kind of whacked out. And the fact that the main Bat book is anchored to events that haven't occurred yet,
It's the main Bat book that's really jacked up. This book isn't pendant on reading Eternal. The only thing that obviously something happened. You don't know what it is, but I don't know if that's pendant on what's going to go on in this book. So,
and detective, I didn't think of that, but
right.
It feels more like a slap to us people who are reading Eternal that we're we're kind of wasting our time because it doesn't matter after all. We're just going to skip ahead of the events of Eternal anyway.
Yeah. Batman Eternal, which we've gone back to Arkham. We're starting to see the effects that end up transpiring in the Arkham Manor book at the very beginning of it. I don't know. I don't know what I want to say about the book. It seemed weird to me. There's parts of it that I don't even have a clue exactly what's going on. The whole Joker's daughter part, I'm not sure what she's up to anymore.
Yeah, I
Oh.
didn't understand that at all. I don't know
Yours-
who she's talking about or who she's against from before and who she's for now or whatever.
Right. And if somebody is manipulated, who is that? I mean, is that something Hush is doing, or I don't know.
Oh god.
I am glad that Alfred lost that weight that he'd gained a few issues back.
Yes, yes. The change of artist certainly helped Alfred in his diet. Um,
I gotta see this.
The art, I thought the art was great. I really want this artist on a good Batman book.
yeah, Simon Colby. Yeah. I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I was a bit confused. I mean, I guess I wasn't confused. It's just, well, other than the Joker's daughter part, the rest of it was very simple, though, wasn't it? I mean, nothing really happened. You know, Batwing staggers around for a while and attempts to get his armor back online, and somebody spouts a bunch of gibberish at Jim. Oh, what the heck's his name? The guy who ends up being the Spectre before he's the Spectre. You know, they've got him held in something, and I don't know what's really happening. Other than the
guess we
Spectre.
learned he's part of their plan for opening up a gate,
Right.
and that's about it. That seems
Yeah.
the whole issue.
Yeah. Yeah. Wasn't particularly impressed with that issue. As far as moving the
art-
issue forward.
This art's
That's why-
fantastic.
That's why I have trouble believing issue 30 is going to wrap this all up, and then everything in Gotham Manor will make sense. Just doesn't seem like much has happened here.
Right. Right. So, anything else you want to say about Paternal?
I can't really. I just showed you all my issues. I'm on 25. Man, but I'm loving this art. Simon Colby. Holy
Yeah.
crap.
Yeah. Kind of Jock-esque in a way, but not quite.
And a little bit, I don't know, this opening page here reminded me of Afterlife with Archie. Especially the coloring, which is Alfred lying on his back. And then I
Right.
looked at the colorist, and it's Romulo Fajardo Jr.
The colorist's name is impossible to say.
I just love that touch. It's amazing. This is awesome. All right. Sorry, guys, I can't chime in on this one.
So, what other DC books you want to talk about?
I got Catwoman. That's my other one.
We all got the monster cover, right? Because it's
Gorgeous
just
cover.
Such a
Yeah.
great cover.
yeah.
And
Damien, I think. Well, I know what Damien thinks of it. I'm on the same page with Damien. I don't know what you think of it.
Well, I haven't watched anybody else's videos, so
Oh, no.
Dummy down there, did you actually read this one?
I certainly did. Hold on. I even got the same one.
Yeah.
Hey. Okay. Go.
Anybody want to put it out there first? What they think?
Oh,
It could use some editing,
there
especially
you go.
yeah,
on the wording.
Yep.
I feel like it has a lot of potential, but it needs to be kind of wound up and tightened a little bit in the dialogue and the wording and everything like that. Other than that, I think it has a lot of potential. I want to see where the conflict between her and Black Mask. I want to see that unfold.
Did you read the Future Ends special?
I did.
You kind of have a basic idea what happens. I think.
I Arkham Manor this because I don't think that's going to happen. And if you read like a lot of the other ones, like Detective, Riddler has a very different outcome in that than he does in the Catwoman one. So, personally, I think a lot of the Future's End events are going to unwind themselves with some event within the book. But that's later in the. I think the book has potential, but yeah, like I think my criticism is pretty valid that it needs some editing on the dialogue and writing.
I found it half interesting, half boring.
Well,
There were times where I was kind of like, okay, I'm just reading this rather than getting caught up in it.
Yeah.
exactly. And especially I was looking, 2 months ahead forward to this book. My expectations were super high, and I was like, my goodness, it's an extension of Eternal. Not in a bad way, just I didn't feel it at all. I didn't get into the story. I don't know, nothing. I got absolutely nothing out of it. Do I want to continue? For $2.99, that's the only thing saving it for me
Hmm.
to keep on buying it. But other than that, I can't, I'm probably gonna wait for you guys if you guys continue to say, hey man, it's pretty good because this.
Well, don't listen to me then, because I thoroughly enjoyed it. I enjoyed everything about it. I love the art in it. I love the coloring of it. I love the tone that's set. I like her internal voice. And maybe this is what it is. I've read enough of Anisetti's that this is just
Yeah.
such a massive breath of fresh air
Okay.
in a number of ways. Plus the fact I'm really curious. I'm curious from a character and story standpoint. What is this really going to be? Because this is so against the grain of normally what Selene, does, what Catwoman does. Other than trying to save Gotham from, imploding on itself, eating itself, and saving this street level of people. That's something she's always flirted with doing anyway. And she's just taking it to a grand scale here. But I'm looking forward to the continued idea of what it means for her to be a crime boss and stuff. I love the fact that she shows up and does the dirty work herself, kind of a thing. Her and her cousins. That's her going out and basically beating up the people who need to be beat up or whatever to figure out what's going on. But I like her internal voice. I like the internal monologue that was there. As far as I like the idea of her comparing her attempted reign to Elizabeth I. I thought, to me, that was interesting. It lends to Selena being a much smarter person, a much more educated and I don't know, person or person of the world than what she's been betrayed for quite some time. For quite some time, she's been portrayed as being, kind of a street level. It's all about her hips and her breasts, and her being slinky and sexy, and that's how she gets through life. Here, she's portrayed as being, she has those elements, but I don't know. It now feels like she's educated. It feels like she's taken some time in her life to read and explore other, potentially powerful women in the world and how they operate and stuff. To me, that makes it interesting, I thought.
Well, I appreciate attempting to make it more intelligent, and maybe that will keep me reading it for a while. But it really does feel to me like a beginner writer working on this. It's just clunky to me. And I worry the whole Queen Elizabeth stuff can get way overplayed and tiresome pretty quickly. But, it just hits everybody a different way.
I still feel like the book has potential to be the book I thought Arkham Manor was going to be. It's going to be a villain-centric book. If they leave it alone and let it kind of build on itself and keep Batman out of it, keep events out of it, if the writing tightens up, I could see this being my replacement for Wonder Woman, to be honest.
Wow.
It just needs to tighten up a bit.
And my enjoyment of the book, I'm not saying it's perfect by any means. I'm not over the moon. Like, it's not Wonder Woman for me. It's not that kind of a thing. But I don't know. I still thought it was. I guess I love the idea enough that I'm going to look past some of the craftsmanship issues that might be there, I guess.
Well, I think it did a little bit of the opposite with me. For a book that was supposed to be, hey guys, welcome back, kind of like, yeah, that's disappointing. But I'll stick around because I'll give it a chance. Because I do want to read Catwoman. I want to read every Bat book out there. But unfortunately, not all of them are good. But I'll give it a few shots. Again, going back to the price point at $2.99. How can I
You know.
Refuse.
And then I liked the little bit of Batman action that was in this, that she basically kind of blows him off, you know?
Oh, come on.
She doesn't have a choice, though.
No, she doesn't.
It's not a bad book.
But I mean, that was the thing that was kind of like, Batman's smarter than this. He knows that she's kind of in over her head and she can't get out of it. And so the best way for her to do it is to conquer the environment she's in, and that's what she's doing.
Mm-hmm.
I can't see why he wouldn't take a step back and be like, all right, I'm going to see where this goes. Almost have a Penguin-like relationship with her and be like, maybe I can use this to my benefit at some point. We have that close enough relationship where maybe this will help me control a little bit more of the organized crime area that's out of control in my other book.
Yeah, but there's a huge difference between Penguin and her, and the fact that this is somebody that, you know, in what issue 1 or 2 of Catwoman we saw them getting very busy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So a completely different relationship. I don't think it's going to back off in the same fashion.
Mm-hmm.
So did you two, Travis and Comic to Comics, prefer Catwoman over Arkham Asylum?
Ooh.
I mean Arkham Manor? Because I way liked Arkham Manor better.
I'm with you there.
Better? I don't know. I enjoyed both of them a lot more, quite honestly, than I expected to. I'm still settling in with Arkham Manor. I'm still settling into the idea, as I keep talking about it, my hang-up with the fact of the Waynes giving up their, you know, Bruce giving up his family home, to me just seems like something he would never do. But,
Go ahead.
But I don't know. There's, like I said, for me, there's a lot of elements to the Catwoman book that I really like.
I have problems with both of them that are different. You know, the problem I have for this book isn't the same problem I have with the other one, and so it's kind of apples and oranges for me. But I felt like Arkham Manor was going to be a more villain-centric book, and it seems like it's just going to be a Batman book taking place in this new environment, and that's kind of my problem with that. I wish the writing was better in Catwoman, so I can't really compare the two.
I enjoyed both of these issues more than I enjoyed Batman.
That's fair.
Yeah.
You know, I thought Batman 35, despite what everybody else thought, I thought Batman 35 was fun. The elements that were in it were fun.
You want to know why that is, though? Why I think you and I liked it? The reason why you and I liked it more than anyone else is because you and I sat through for Zero Year and Forever Evil, and it was just a breath of fresh air to have something that wasn't tied to anything else.
I guess that's it.
I didn't mind 35. I never smashed it.
Yeah.
That's right. Because it's got a Joker in it.
Well, yeah, it's been 2 years, but you know, it works. Why not? Bring them back.
Hey guys, I gotta go. I have a little devil to pick up at a play date, so hell await.
Come on.
I'll talk to you later.
All right. See you, David.
So yeah, he's got to come pick me up.
I do wonder, Mr. CDC, how do you do it without moving your lips?
It takes years.
All right.
Yes. If I had another hour, I could have set it up so the mouth moved, but that will be a later video.
All right.
Yes. So, Sergeant America, did you pick up any DC books this week?
Yeah, Deathstroke I got.
Right on.
And I liked the art. I liked the story till the end, but it seems like I knew a little bit about Deathstroke, and it just seemed like they pumped him up to Wolverine level with his regeneration, because like he gets a hole blown through his head, most of his brains get scattered, and
Deathstroke?
and he runs or walks at least, you know, like 6 blocks to a mile to this other place where he can rest, and he's going to recover from these injuries. And that's, you know, they keep talking about his regenerative powers, and it just made him, I mean, it pumped him up to Wolverine levels as far as I could see, where they had swords cutting into his neck, into the jugulars, but then, you know, he holds onto it and he can get through the next fight. So that's, towards the end, I just felt it was too much. You know, it wasn't the Deathstroke I remembered.
I don't remember being that, having that ability either. Not to that level.
he always had regenerative abilities, but yeah, it was never Wolverine-esque.
Yeah.
It was always more like a resilience type thing.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly he could take flesh wounds, but having part of his skull blown away would be
Yeah,
at least put him down, if not be terminal.
yeah, this one was pretty jacked because I mean you can see it. The little brain stuff is kind of falling. There's the big cavity in there, so it was, and I don't like that. That's why I stopped reading Wolverine. Everybody has a little bit of regenerative, so they can get past all these super wounds, but it was too much.
Well, I learned that if you cover Wolverine in adamantium, liquid adamantium, you'll kill him.
Yeah. All right.
Freaking. Anyway.
He has no. Well, he has no regenerative powers. Not have. He's human.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe he could have got through that. Never mind.
No, I don't know.
But I like Tony Daniels' art, but his writing, I don't know if I'm exactly in love with it at times. But I could watch him draw just about any Bat-esque character.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's doing both for that book?
Yes,
believe so.
yes. Yeah, he was credited as writer. Let me just check again real quick. Yeah, writer and penciled by Tony Daniels, and then inked by Flora. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, yeah, I wasn't gonna pick it up. I know you guys mentioned that as a writer he was a little weak. I looked through it and I liked, like I said, it. You know, at the beginning everything was looking really nice. The story was progressing pretty good until he got into the super fight against this other guy with regenerative powers, and then it just, I don't know, it was too escalated. It was,
Yeah.
you know. So that was my only DC book.
Oh, yeah?
I'm kind of unfortunate that Hellspawn isn't here to talk
Yeah.
Multiverse, the Just issue, Earth Me. Anybody else read this?
No, the cover was great. I like the
Like the
cover when I
comic?
saw it.
Yeah, it's great because it looks like People magazine. You know, it looks like a tabloid.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of how the people operate inside too.
It was. I get. Before you say anything and before you color my opinion, I love this. So I'm just gonna leave it at that.
I loved it too. I thought it was great. It kind of reminded me, in some ways, I don't know if anybody has been reading the very slow coming out Jupiter's Legacy.
Yeah.
No.
It has some elements from that, just in the fact that this is like the second generation. This Batman is Damian. This Batman is a Christopher Clark. Arrowette is, you know, like daughter of Connor Hawk, Green Arrow. The clone Superman, I can't remember what his name is in this. That's hilarious because in this on this Earth, all clones of Superman slowly degenerate into Bizarro, and we actually get to see some of that happen before our eyes in the book. He's an artist. He's running an art gallery, and he's slowly losing it, you know. And of course, there is Alexi Luthor.
Mm-hmm.
Lex Luthor's daughter in this too, and Lex Luthor's daughter and Batman are dating, which is kind of fun. But Batman tries hiding his girlfriend because, of course, his girlfriend's dad killed Superman. Lex Luthor in this world killed Superman, so of course, clearly, Superman does not care for the daughter of Lex Luthor. But I thought it was fun. It was so insipid. I mean, in the fact these characters are just so vapid, and because all bad guys are gone.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime a new alien race tries to invade Earth, Superman before he died created all these robots, this super defense system. They don't have to fight anything. The robots go and take care of everything. So it's all a big joke. I mean, the Green Arrow daughter wants to be on a superhero team because it's kind of a fashion thing, but she needs 5 trick arrows to be on the team. So she's begging her dad for 5 trick arrows, and he's like, well, you know, trick arrows don't make the hero. You know, she's like, I'm not going to fight, Dad. You know, and it's like, you know, so he's doling out trick arrows to her but won't give her an explosive arrow. I mean, it's just, and then the end of it, of course, there's a surprise at the end of it. And the deeper part of it is, through all of these books, there's these comic books that are supposedly cursed or whatever. Mm-hmm. And in this one, the cursed comic book is more of it's like a virus that is infecting people who read it. There's a suicide in this thing. I don't know. It was cool, and I like Ben Oliver's art. It's been a while since I've seen any of his art, and it was nice to see it again. You got anything else to say about it?
I liked the fact that they are so bored that they go out in the middle of nowhere and recreate fights that happened in the past because they have nothing to do. Everything has been solved. Their parents, the superheroes of the past, have solved all the world's problems. They don't even need to exist anymore as superheroes. And it's very melodramatic, like you were saying how Batman has to hide his relationship with Luthor because he doesn't want that to affect his rep among other people, and things like that. They have nothing to worry about that a superhero typically has to worry about. Their social lives have become paramount to what you would normally think. And I thought that was interesting social commentary on like maybe a generational thing with people, like maybe parents of a generation or two ago had to work hard, and now these spoiled brats are around. So I liked the whole thing. It was very deep in a lot of ways for me.
And of course, with the whole comic book part of this element of this, the comics in the comic, I still think it's also Morrison. He's making a commentary on comic books while he's doing this multiverse thing. I mean, there's a number of things I think going on, and every issue. I wasn't sure when this whole thing started out what I was going to think of it, but I've been loving it since then, and just fascinated to see how the whole thing ties up when it gets there.
Well, and as I was reading that, I realized that they read these other universes unfolding that we've previously read. Like the previous issue is in this one,
right?
And they're like, "Who would read?" I liked that he was almost critical of himself in it. But I also like that my theory that these universes are kind of crossing over into one another is still happening, and the only reason why it didn't happen in this one is because the Superman robots stop it every time it's about to occur.
Right.
And so, yeah, and I don't know if you've been reading the previews of the ones coming up, but he's dipping into like more obscure comic book companies that had died out and using their characters in the future ones.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to the next ones coming out. I'm loving this series. The first issue, if it turned you off and you read it, you're missing out on a great series.
Right.
Well, it's series of one-shots, I guess I should say. Because I don't know if they're going to tie this all together even later, are they?
I think it will. Because clearly, despite them all being number ones, there is a thread going through every single one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and then that part of it is linear. I mean, it's straight going from one to the next. I mean, the end of the last comic is within the pages of this in the comics that are there. So, and they're commenting on that. There's some other great, comments about comic books and the multimedia and turning them into movies and all that stuff too. It gets thrown in there, and if you're one of those people like this old fogey who bitches and moans about potentially how some of those medias are screwing with our comic books, I think it gets laid down there too. So, I don't know. It was cool.
Which you don't see. I mean, he's got a lot of breathing room. I doubt editorial would let anyone else make comments like that in either of the big two. Even in Image, I would say. No one's going to, because that's how they're breading their butter right now, is through multimedia. So the fact that they're allowing him to do that is awesome.
I'm just kind of looking real quick because I couldn't remember who it was that was actually it's the Superman editor, the group editor of this. And I'm not, and the editor of this book in particular, I'm not familiar with, so I don't know what else they edit, but that's interesting. Any other DC books you want to talk about?
I got a couple.
Go
ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead, dummy.
Oh, sorry. The man behind the curtain. So I'll go with this. Why not? Three issues in, right? Yeah. These 3 issues could have been 1 issue. And I'm starting to see that maybe we're getting what they were planning to do in the monthly and just stretching the hell out of it, essentially. Because this felt like the conclusion of a single issue of the monthly. The first and the second, and the third put together, 1 issue of the monthly. And it's just killing this book, I feel like. And I don't know, I'm going to pick up the monthly one more, so I'm sticking with this until then. But if you have to read this and the monthly, I'm afraid Earth 2 is probably on thin ice. There's just no way that you're going to... Sorry to bring it down, but... Here, I'll talk about it here. Instead, I love this. It's good. Wait till the trade comes out if you haven't got it. This is awesome. But World's End, I'm thoroughly disappointed in.
Well, I'm done with Earth 2. From hearing you talk about it and the issues I've gotten since the weekly started up, I didn't order it this latest month. So I got a couple more issues coming, and then I'm done because I think they've kind of they're farming the same material in both books, and neither one feels very successful to me. So. Well,
you probably have recollection of the monthly more than I do. Did it end with them saying the Furies were going to show up?
Yes.
Yeah, so I mean, these first 3 issues have been them fighting the Furies. So I can't imagine them somehow either retelling it or telling it in a different fashion in the monthly. I don't see how they would do that. Yeah. But there was one other DC if no one else has one. Or do you have one?
John, what else do you read?
I have Harley Quinn issue 11. The Power Girl arc.
Power Girl.
Last issue ended with the Power Girl landing onto the beach, and Harley Quinn went over with friends from her. I don't know, Travis, you obviously dropped it, but do you remember that freak show, that house?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I actually really liked it. I loved it. This comic book, this issue, was actually the most kid-friendly. Let's just say, no gore, no graphic nature of that sort. It was so funny. Obviously it's Power Girl. We all make fun of her suit. That was the main focus of not the whole issue, but the jokes. They weren't that cheesy at all. I pick up Harley Quinn. I expect cheese, but they were actually funny. They were laugh out loud funny, which I was so excited about.
Yeah, Jimmy Palmiotti wrote a run of Power Girl, and Amanda Connor did the art on Power Girl for, I don't know, like 2 years.
That's right.
Before the New 52 or something like that. And they had lots of fun with that. They embraced Power Girl's attributes and her costume and all of that, and just had good fun with it. Not gross, but just good fun with it. So I kind of expected would be the same now.
And it shows here, not just in the writing, but also the way Amanda Connor just draws her. She's just massive and big and bulky, and it's hilarious because Batgirl has the shopping montage, going to the shopping mall, whatever. They have it here, which they go to a big and tall woman's dress, mall clothing store, and it's awesome how they're Power Girl's dressing, putting on these clothes, and she looks fantastic, and Harley Quinn is considered the perfect, I guess, body size, and she looks horrible in all these loose baggy clothes. It's just so well done, and obviously, what's his name, Chad Hardin. Chad Hardin. Oh, I can't. Oh my gosh, Hardin. Yeah. Amazing, because Power Girl obviously has amnesia. She doesn't know who she is. She doesn't know what's going on, and Harley Quinn's trying to fool her into thinking that they're the best of friends and they're actually a dynamic duo. And the expression here right in her face, you don't have to read it. You can see that she's confused and she's believing what Harley Quinn's saying. It was awesome. It was really good. Of course, there's a lot of things that from previous issues that are kind of like, oh gosh, this is so annoying. But if it continues this pace, it's my fun book for the month, I guess. And I just had so much fun with it, and I can't wait for the next one. It's just so well done. This issue was amazing.
Is it?
No cheese.
Is it this month that the Scratch and Sniff annual comes out?
I don't
next
know.
week or something?
I don't know. I'm not getting it, obviously. I'm getting the grass one. But
is that what they call it where you live?
No, he's in Canada, so it won't get there because it won't be out of the country. Yeah. I was just curious.
I'm not sure. Is that the annual or is that a special?
It's an annual.
It's their annual.
I think it's coming out this one. I'm not sure. But,
Look at
yeah, I don't know what the hell that's all about. Just gonna approach it like I do with all my Harley Quinn books. Just.
Are you saying you scratch and sniff all your Harley Quinn books? Is that what you're saying then?
Yes, I do. Actually, most of them they leave with the scent. Oh God, that's so nasty.
I just look at real quick to see if it's coming out. Yes, next week. It's next week's book. So.
Okay. Hopefully, someone sends me the cannabis one through the mail.
Sweet.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
I'll get on it.
I love this G.I. Zombie. It's one book that did something with the Future's End tie-in that made sense. You actually see the start of the events of the Future's End tie-in in the second issue, and they start to continue in this. And instead of where Batman has kind of been ruined with the Eternal, this made me go, how do they get there? And they're starting to show us how they get there, and I really like it. It's written by the two guys that did All-Star Western. I think that's also why I like it. And I wish Damien was here because I think he also loves this book.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, that book gets no love.
No.
Only, you're the only person that picks it up.
Right.
I love the art, and I love the storytelling in it. It's kind of like Resurrection Man, written by people that know what they're doing a little bit better. I'm thoroughly enjoying it.
And that was issue what?
3.
3? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's feasibly possible for me to go back and pick those up if I choose.
Oh yeah, I'm surprised you haven't.
Yeah. Well, I know you talk about it, and then I forget about it, and then never get back to it. Yeah.
It is so good, and I love the dialogue in it, and I love right now he's a zombie fighting zombies, like actual zombies, but he's intelligent and all of that and things like that, and he's like, what is wrong with these people? And still he can't figure out why they are not.
Nice. So I'm looking over some of the comments, and when we get past the comments about how beautiful I am tonight, thank you very much.
The usual.
Yeah, right. Mac Hammer says that the scratch and sniff is next week, and it's $6 fart noise. So
what?
$6?
$6. And you can't even smoke it. So there you go. Well, I guess you can, but anyway.
Well, if you look at it that way, that's a good deal.
Yeah. I haven't been to the store lately to find out how much it is. So anyway, any other DC books?
That's it for me, Travis.
What? We got any DC news we need to talk about?
I go to you for that.
Well, I think one of us saw Constantine. I have it on my DVR. I haven't seen it yet.
I saw it.
I watched it.
What'd you guys think?
I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm. That's all I need to hear now.
Yeah, I liked it fine. I know that, from hearing how you guys describe him, that he's more of a bastard. I saw where they were trying to start that, but I understand they also still want to make him likable enough for people to continue watching.
Right. I mean, now when I say I liked it, I didn't say it was Hellblazer.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like it. They play fast and loose with some of the stuff in it. They've changed some of the characters, some that'll be interesting to see what that means. But I think they stayed. I mean, for a pilot, it was pretty decent at kind of giving you this is what the show's kind of be about. So at least you're not going, I don't know what this show's going to be about. But at the end of the day, you get some of the workings behind why Constantine might be doing the stuff that he's doing. I mean, because they even get into, he reveals, the fact that his mom died at childbirth, and that his dad basically hated him for that and called him names, and called him killer all the time and stuff. Stuff that in the comic book took forever to get to. The one thing I really wish they would have done to really spice it up, in the comic book, when he loses the girl to hell, he comes out of Newcastle with just her severed arm. That's what he comes out of Newcastle with. And they don't do that in the TV show. In the TV show, she's just pulled away. And, I mean, that's why he ends up in the crazy bin, because after that whole thing's all said and done. And that's the other thing that it works for the TV show, but I think it's kind of a bummer. In the comic book, he doesn't willfully go to Ravenscar. He is sent to Ravenscar because because he's messed up, and they mess him up even worse in Ravenscar. I mean, Ravenscar was its own nightmare, and here they just use it as kind of a touching point to kind of get the show going. But like I said, I liked it. But it's my kind of show. I mean, I like that kind of, the occult fighting monster kind of thing anyway. So the angel part of it, I'm a little dicey on that seemed too on the nose and gives Constantine a different reason to be doing the stuff he does. In the show, they imply that he might have the ability to basically get his soul pulled back out of hell, and there's none of that in the comic book. In the comic book, he does what he does because he wants to do it. He knows he's a doomed man. He'll do whatever tricks he can to keep himself out of hell, but there's no angel sitting around going, if you do enough good stuff, you might get rewarded with getting out of hell. There's none of that. So.
Does he smoke?
No, but he can't. It's network TV, so he can't smoke.
He was putting on a cigarette that one scene.
What's that?
Did you see him butt out the cigarette?
Right. But
that was cool.
But you never actually see him smoke. He packs the lighter around.
I'm like, he should be chain smoking. He should be chain smoking. And all of a sudden, towards the end, you see him butt out the cigarette. Yeah. Out of all the shows, comic book shows, whatever, so far this is my favorite. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. I love the special effects. That's the special effects that I love. Yeah, I actually jumped some scenes. It was incredible.
Yeah.
With the grandma, the kids.
Yeah, the grandma. Yes. I'm watching that with Ethan. I'm watching that with Ethan. He's squealing when that part happens. Ah! So.
Come on.
Yeah.
That was awesome. It's like, this is great.
Yeah.
I was hoping he would. Sorry, John. Well, I was just going to say that I was hoping that it wouldn't just be the United States, though. It looked like by the map that they were just going to concentrate it here, and I was hoping for a couple international locations.
Yeah, agreed. Constantine in America is always kind of weird. In the book, Constantine being in America was awesome because, of course, he's very British and has a very British, view on the colonies as they were. And so anytime he came to America, things were always really jacked up for him. So him being here and it being kind of just the place he is it loses a little flavor. I enjoyed the show. If you want the really good stuff, go read the trades. Go read Hellblazer. Mm-hmm. It's in trades. They're putting them new editions out right now. They're all nicely numbered, so you aren't confused as to which is which. That's my suggestion. If you all enjoyed the TV show, read the comics.
All right.
I'm definitely gonna look more into Hellblazer now. I know it's
so good.
I'm so like against that sort of shit, but man, damn. I know a little bit of on Constantine, here and there.
Sure.
I'll read, but man, I'm just excited for it, especially when there's other stuff out there that I really don't care for too much. I don't know why, but.
There's one other thing I want to talk about DC-wise, and that is, of course, we've been seeing the solicitations for, what is it, Batman and Robin number 37, is that what it is? Where this is all spoilers. If you haven't been anywhere on the internet to have had this story spoiled for you, dear God, don't. No, I'm trying to see if I can find the actual cover here.
I do love your behind the covers where you start screaming out at one of your Batman spoilers,
yes.
And then you're like, oh wait, is that who I think that is?
38, is it, Travis?
Is it 38?
Yeah, it's that gorgeous portrait of
Well,
Damian
it's really
Wayne.
weird is most of the places you see the solicitation, it doesn't have the full picture, but here we go. I'm going to see if I can get it to load up here. I will screen share. No, it's not concerned. Because you're here, I want to talk a little more about this picture, right?
Yeah.
Everybody can see that, right?
Yeah.
So there he is, the smug kid that we all love, or I guess the few crazy people who hate him.
Or love to hate, yeah.
And so here he is. He's ripping his shirt back, a la Superman, right? Bullets are bouncing off of him. Clearly those are bullets that have smashed into him. Is he going to come back with superpowers?
It does, yeah, it's implying that he's immortal. I don't know. Will he
So-
have that?
I don't know. Or invulnerable or something? That's what I'm asking. Is he going to come back? Because he's in, he's in this alien place now. He's going to be, I'm assuming, resurrected using alien technology, in Acropolis and whatnot. You're not going to take a guess? Call it! Is he going to have superpowers or not?
Yes, I think he is.
And if he has superpowers, does it create an opportunity to tell more stories, or does it mess up the dynamics that currently are there?
You're right. I think it will mess up the dynamics a bit. Okay, well, because Damien already thinks he's better than his father, right?
Really? Do you think he does? I think
Yes,
that's like the one person he doesn't think he's better than.
Well, I think he thinks he's better than his father when it comes to tactical, physical, stuff like that. I
Okay.
think he challenges his dad that way. But the other parts about his dad, he'll never come close. So now that he's tougher, or I don't know, are they gonna make him immortal? It
Well,
just feels that way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying that cover could just be, that's just fun. That's somebody doing
True.
montage to the whole homage to the whole Superman thing.
I
But
hope
why,
so.
why would you? But why would you pick that? Why would you pick that? Why wouldn't it be a Batman cover or something? Why would you do that one with bullets bouncing off of him if there wasn't some? Or am I just reading too much into it?
Yeah.
I think you're reading a little bit too much into it, but it kind of suits the characterization of Damien. He's super douche, He's arrogant, cocky, He's like, well, look at me, I'm back. I don't know. Maybe he's trying to say something like that.
Does it ruin the big problem with all Robins, or the best part probably, is that Batman has to worry about each one. That he's the fallibility, the fear of each one of them breaking. He's had them dead, he's had them hurt. I thought that was part of the thing that makes a Robin a Robin.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've been curious about that anyway, and maybe that's their way of getting around the fact that if Bruce gets Damian back, he's gonna tell Damian, sorry, I'm not letting you do any of this anymore.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make sure Alfred's watching you 24/7. You're never leaving the mansion again, because you died once. It's not happening again, And if he's bulletproof, I guess he can go, look, I mean, bang, it doesn't hurt me, haha. So I can go out and fight crime again. I don't know.
I would like that without the powers, because that Damien would sneak out. And
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way you're going to keep him locked up.
Yeah.
And so I actually like that angle.
Yeah. Oh.
It's too
Oh.
easy. Even
So that has to be a discussion. I can't imagine Tomasi not addressing that, not having that conversation between Bruce and Damian about I've lost you one. I mean,
oh yeah.
it has to go through Bruce's head, right? That has to go through Batman's head.
Well, and on top of that, I want to see what Jason Todd thinks of the whole thing. If he does immediately get right back in the Robin suit and all that, the lengths that he's gone to bring him back, and he didn't do that with Jason Todd. I kind of want to see that. I don't think they'll do this. I don't think they'll go that deep. But
That would be fantastic.
Somebody
I
will.
hope so. Down the lines.
Somebody will somewhere. It may not be in the Batman and Robin book, but at some point somebody will write that in somewhere. Him saying something. Some offhand, flippant, F you, Bruce. Or,
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Jason Todd. Yeah. Jason Todd's always playing catch up to win Batman's affection. Always.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why that's why he was the first one to forgive Batman during Death of the Family. He always wants to stand out and be like, hey man, I'm here. Like, that's awesome. I wish they do that.
And maybe they will address it because I mean, Jason Todd is Red Hood is with them, going to save Damian. He's going to this extra great length, and I don't know.
Damn. So now we're getting two amazing potential stories. This is amazing.
Gonna be exciting
This is
stuff.
awesome.
I just want to talk about the superpower thing. Was he gonna have superpowers or not? So we can move on from. What do I think?
Sorry. Yeah. Are you for it or against it?
I'm against it. I like him being what he is, but
Human.
I know that he's gonna change. So it could be curious though, having the first superpowered Robin. You know,
Yeah.
that would really separate him from the rest of the Robins, even more
And
so.
he already thinks he's better than all the Robins. He challenged him. Remember that arc where he was like he was gonna hit Jason off the car. That was awesome. I love that issue.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to one of the other companies. Let's talk Marvel.
Yep.
All right.
Go ahead, Sergeant. Kick us off.
Actually, I have no Marvel. I got Independence for the rest.
What?
Can you believe it?
Well, hey, they took away my Thunderbolts. What else is there in Marvel?
Are you telling me you're not reading All New Ghost Rider?
No, I'm sorry. No, John, I'm not.
This is fantastic stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, Johnny Blaze is back.
What?
It's awesome. Yeah. I don't know if any of you guys know any backstory with Robbie Reyes, the new Ghost Rider.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't just drive a car. He's an amazing human being. His main focus is to take care of his little brother, raise money, get money any way he can, just to put his brother into like the best education, just because he's kind of mentally handicapped. And so he has focus. He's a true hero without the spirit of vengeance in him. That's what I love about Robbie Reyes. Now, he got a little bit ahead of himself here. He's using the ghost that's possessed him. His name is Eli, to race cars for money. You know, huge prizes, $5,000 sometimes. These races, and he's using Eli to race. And Eli doesn't want that. Eli wants to kill, wants to go out and seek revenge and stuff like that. And Robbie is ignoring. So something happens. Robbie does a race, double for nothing. He loses. He loses the race. So Eli, it's a trick. Eli's convincing him to like go after that guy, turn into Ghost Rider, let me come out and get your money back. So Robbie's like, fine, goes after him, and all of a sudden, boom, Johnny Blaze appears and says, whoa, who the heck are you? What are you doing? So that's pretty cool. As a Ghost Rider fan my whole life, I love seeing that. Yeah. Now, just something interesting with this series. Johnny, he's a fantastic detective. He saw something in Robbie. He saw two spirits in Robbie, which has never happened before. People have only been possessed by one spirit of vengeance. Just like Alejandra Jones, the female Ghost Rider was possessed by Adam, the actual Adam from Adam and Eve.
Right.
Anyways, so Johnny's like, going after Eli. Eli has taken over and has fully possessed Robbie, and he's going after revenge, not in the Ghost Rider avatar form, but as Robbie himself, going back to these Russian mobs that did him wrong. So that's how it ended. It was, I don't know why. I know this book is going to end. There's a rumor, but Travis, what are you doing? It's joking with you. Looks so, you're distracting me. You're so distracting.
Oh, sorry.
I'm just joking. But I when I heard the rumors that this book was going to end, or remember you guys, it was like a big...
Right.
I was actually really disappointed. I love this book. I love the character. He's so likable, and I hope it doesn't go anywhere. If it does,
is that a $2.99 book or is that a $3.99 book? Just out of curiosity.
$3.99, unfortunately. Okay. But it's one of those $3.99s that I don't mind at all. And Tradd Moore was on art. Tradd Moore is fantastic. He's the guy that does Luther Strode. Fantastic artist, kind of like graffiti type of 80s style. And now Damian Scott has taken over, and Damian Scott has another style, but still in that form of graffiti, which I love so much. Mm-hmm. Pages are full, huge, just awesome action. I just love this book. I love it. And that's it.
Did anyone else read Daredevil?
Oh. What?
Go ahead. She-Hulk, issue number 9.
It was a nice issue of Daredevil. That's all I'm saying. It felt like an issue of Daredevil. Yeah. I liked it, though, because I like Daredevil.
Oh,
but yeah, it was a courtroom based. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe I'm a little cynical because the book's ending, but yeah, it just kind of bummed me out that that's one of the last issues of the book, is it's a courtroom setting.
Well, yeah, the January issue is going to be the last issue. So what the next issue of this is going to settle this whole, Captain America being sued for something that he did before he was Captain America. And then we've got a couple issues to deal with the blue dossier thing, and then it's done. Yeah. That is a bummer. the fact that it's over with. I really enjoyed this issue. I mean, you say it's a Daredevil issue, yeah, I guess, because it's in a courtroom and whatnot, and Daredevil does almost all of the talking in the courtroom in this issue, because of course the defense gets to go first. No, not defense. The prosecutor gets to go first. Whatever. Yeah, it's going to be a bummer because I love all these characters. I love the characterization of them, and we're not going to get to see it again. I mean, I've read some stuff that Charles Soule has said about it. That clearly, it's a business thing. Not enough people are reading it, so it's going away. The people who produce it supposedly love it. Marvel supposedly loves it. They love She-Hulk. They wanted to have a book, but if people aren't buying it, they're not going to keep making it. That's kind of what it came down to. I love the covers. I've come to enjoy the art. I've always been one of the people who complained about how far apart the Jen's eyes are from each other. I've gotten used to that, and despite that, the rest of the stuff about the book I love. The actual panel work itself, as far as being critical of the art, because I know a lot of people say, "Oh, the reason the book failed is because of the art." The actual panel work itself is smart work. It's good comic book paneling. You just have to get used to this kind of characterization of some of the characters, and I guess if you're, I don't know, there's a lot of good comic books out there. I think you're missing if you have to have the perfect 4-color traditional superhero art for it to work for you. You're missing out on a lot of comics.
But I think also a lot of people are like, I'm going to wait for trade on this, and that kind of killed the book too a little bit.
Well, there has to already be well, maybe there's not a trade out yet. I don't know how fast Marvel puts their trades out.
But also, it was selling more than a lot of books that are keeping too.
Yeah, which then makes you wonder what the deal is, right?
Yeah.
They don't have a real. Basically, he contracted to do 12 issues. He's doing 12 issues. They don't have a plan past that. It doesn't sound like. He said he would write more stories if they asked him to. They didn't ask him to, so I don't know.
What does Hellcat do in that issue?
She's in like 3 panels, I think, at most.
Okay.
She's doing
just like a cat burglar.
Yeah, she's doing some black ops basically to gather something for their case. That's how much she's in this issue in particular. I love her characterization in this. I don't know a whole lot about Hellcat, but I love her characterization in the whole, since she's been introduced in the book. I like what she, their relationship, their working relationship is cool. Why they're kind of working together, I think is great. It all feels really good to me. So.
Yeah. Just bummed about it.
Yep. So am I. But it's comics, I guess, and that happens to a lot of comics, it seems.
Yeah.
Part of us, I guess, should say, "Oh, we're lucky we got 12 issues." I don't know.
Well,
the real cynic in me says that Marvel cranks out a lot of female books and doesn't support any of them, and they all tank fairly early on. With the exception of what Captain Marvel seems to be doing well with the whole Carol Danvers. Marvel Corps, or whatever the fan base is calling themselves. That's awesome that they have that fan base. They're extremely vocal. So hopefully that keeps their comic book around for a while. But there's lots of others that I think we're gonna see 12 issues of Black Widow, and I figure it's gonna get the plug pulled on it too.
I wouldn't be shocked about that at all.
Or
we'll see 12 to 15 issues of a lot of these books. I think the new Spider-Woman. I don't know how long it'll last. The Spider-Gwen, I haven't seen enough of it to have a sense, but
that Spider-Woman with Jessica Drew, is she going to share that book with Silk? Because if she is, I ain't buying it. If it's just Jessica Drew, I'm going to buy it.
I don't know, because I'm not getting it. I already decided I wasn't getting it just by dint of the artists that are on it. I'm not interested.
Well, did you read this?
I dropped that because I got sick of that story at issue 698. I heard it was good. I heard it was finally good.
Yeah, but yeah, in that Silk is kind of coming into her own in it, and so I'm kind of wondering if they're kind of distancing her from Peter to kind of have her move to a different book.
Isn't she getting her own book?
Is she? Yeah, yes, she is. You're right.
I thought Silk was getting her own book. So
Oh,
I would
she is?
assume. So I would assume that isn't gonna affect the Spider-Woman book.
Oh damn! Not another Bat book.
Yeah. Why not? I don't know. Like I said, my take on the Marvel's support of, the female comic book characters, I think is sad. I mean, they're putting out a lot more now, but putting them out and then being something are two different things. So.
Mhm.
And Wonky Ninja says the trade of She-Hulk came out 2 weeks ago, so it's out there now. So they tanked this thing. They tanked this thing before there was time for even that to sell. So.
Wow.
I regret not picking up Thor #1. I heard it was amazing.
It's pretty good. I'm not a fan of Thor, and I enjoyed it.
Damn. See,
And I am a fan of Thor, and I liked it.
Yeah.
I regret it. I can't find it anymore.
So, Marvel books? Any other Marvel books? That's the only Marvel book I read. Was She-Hulk.
My comic book of the week is a Marvel book.
Let's talk
What
about
is
that then.
Go, John. You got one? Go ahead.
Yeah, I got Logan Legacy #2. Charles Soule.
How was that?
He loves Wolverine. You can tell by the way he writes this. I jumped on Death of Wolverine. I said it wasn't, and I did. It was fantastic, by the way.
Yeah, it was.
So he sold me on Logan Legacy. He wooed me over, and I said, okay, I'm gonna jump on. Fantastic cast. We saw Logan Legacy #1. We got the cast of Mystique, Daken, Deathstroke, Sabretooth, and his daughter here, Laura Kinney, X-23, which I love so much from All New X-Men. I think there's 7 issues in this. Each issue is going to talk about center around the characters that part of have some history with Wolverine. This one obviously kicks off with the X-23. Awesome story, man. She's in Toronto, Canada, living it up. It was amazing to see that. So happy. Man, this mask is bothering me. Yeah, and she meets up with a member of Alpha Flight, Windshear, who was under the new name Chinook. Yeah, it was just great. It was just her, being angry. She doesn't have emotions. She doesn't know, like, everyone's upset that Wolverine's dead. She doesn't know how to feel. She's not sad. She's just angry. She doesn't care. And basically it was just how did she get to honor her father, her own way of mourning. That's all it was, basically. And she comes back with just, highlights in her hair, the blue and gold. That's all it was, basically. Just her just getting to, she's kind of robotic. She doesn't care about anything. But with this death of Wolverine, it's actually affecting her and touching her, and you're seeing another layer in her character that has me even more in love with her. Basically that's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna stick around. I'm gonna check out everyone else's story in this legacy.
Now I was
just
looking.
love the way he writes it.
I was looking at the weekly. Is it Wolverines? Is that what it's
Yeah,
called?
I'm worried about that. I'm worried about that.
But
I'm gonna see.
It's a $3.99.
Yes, it is. I know.
And weekly. Woo.
Yeah.
You guys know who you're talking to, right?
But see, I was kind of apprehensive about $2.99 weeklies. I don't know if I could hop in on.
I know.
It'll sell. Don't get me wrong. It'll sell.
And I made a big mistake. I thought the Wolverines was going to be based off of the kids from Red Dawn, so I got to take that off my pull list.
You should.
You know what, guys? If it keeps on putting out good books, like quality, I don't honestly $3.99. What is that? It's just like buying another book that I buy. I buy books weekly, regardless. So
Yeah.
if it turns out to be amazing, price is irrelevant. That's how I look at it.
Sure.
But we'll see. I'll get the first one. Well, let's see how this ends. If this ends well, I have a feeling it is, because Soul has that ability of just, man,
So who's writing the weekly?
I think they're gonna take turns again. There's three artists, three writers for sure. I think Soul's gonna kick it off, of course. He's gonna get us into it, and then we'll see what happens.
All right.
I'm not.
Yes, you are, Travis. You told me you were.
No. That for me,
don't know.
I don't have a comic shop, so you say that it's irrelevant. It's just it's another book you buy. You're right. It's just another book that I buy. But in my case, that's
You're right.
$4 a month. I'm looking at a minimum of 8 books. Minimum. More than likely, it's actually 12 books that I'm invested in. That's a year's worth of something else that I'm invested in, not really knowing what it's really going to be about, who it is that's going to be doing it, and am I really that interested? I like Wolverine. I think Wolverine's cool. I don't know that I'm invested enough to read a book that centers somehow around Wolverine at that price. Where you notice with the DC weekly books, the only one I got was Batman Eternal, because I like Gotham. I know I like Gotham and what Gotham is about. So that to me felt like less of a risk, because I was already interested in that part, and I'm not that interested in the background static or whatever that's Wolverine. I don't know that I'm interested in.
Well,
Go ahead, Ken.
did you read the solicitation on the first issue?
No.
No.
So it's the first kind of arc of it is, what do we do with his dead body? So for me, I was like, I'm not really all that interested in that. I mean, I would just put it outside of a building or something, like it's art.
Doorstop.
I was gonna say a
Thor
doorstop.
can use it as a doorstop.
That's a heavy doorstop.
Can I say this? For the past 2, maybe 3 years, every time a Wolverine issue hits the shelves, I've picked it up.
Yeah.
I've picked up #1, and I've been hugely disappointed with every single Wolverine book that's been put out. What Charles Soule has done with this, the exit of Wolverine,
That was good.
has brought interest back into Wolverine. What's going on?
Yeah.
That's what I find fascinating.
That
If he
was
stays
good.
on, because man, let me tell you, Savage Wolverine,
Yep.
Wolverine, like, come on, they were just, so I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
Anyway, so
Yeah.
my comic book of the week was not Axis, it was Hobgoblin.
Oh, come on.
But the reason why I brought Axis into it too is,
that number 3?
yes, it is.
Mhm.
But so you open this up and it says you'll have to read Axis number 3 or else you'll get spoiled. You don't have to read Axis number 3. It had nothing to do with Axis number 3. I read Axis number 3 first. This was awesome. I was so blown away by how good this was. I hadn't read anything with Hobgoblin in it in a long time, but essentially he's turning his life around and becoming a hero. But instead of just, I'm going to be good now, he's still crooked as it gets, because his whole idea is, I'm going to franchise out Hobgoblin. You have to buy my DVDs and my books and pay a nominal fee, and then you can be Hobgoblin too, out fighting crime on your own.
Nice.
And he has these seminars out there that you go to and things like that. And it's so funny because this guy comes in, he's like, so is this where I go to become a villain? And his bodyguards just beat the crap out of him. He's like, we're heroes here. Don't say that here. And yeah, so like other Hobgoblin, no, what's his? I can't think of his name. True Goblin, I think is his name, is kind of the antagonist in this. And he's like, I don't like that there's so many goblins out there now. It's driving me nuts. I can't tell who's who. And the part that cracked me up is this guy raises his hand. He's like, so what if these goblins become better than you? And he's like, that won't happen. Like he's a total businessman, but it shows the sleaziness behind the scenes, because he goes back with this guy and he's like, I'm making money hand over fist, and I don't even have to go to jail for it. Just awesome. And
that's a 3-issue book, right?
3 issues, yeah. So it's not even.
Who's writing that? Who are the creators on it?
It's Shanik. He'd written some other things, but I didn't know any of them.
Yeah.
But the solicitation itself, made me laugh, and I'm going to break my fourth wall in my costume here for a second, but that sold me on it right there. I was like, I have to get it just for that. It was awesome.
I read 2 pages at the shop, and I was like, man, I'm actually interested.
Yeah.
When he was when he's getting makeup done, he's wearing like purple pants or something like that.
Yeah.
All flamboyant.
Oh,
like,
he's a
this is actually
dirtbag.
pretty cool. And then I was like, no. Because it's a 3-issue mini. I don't know why. Just that kind of threw me off. And the Axis was plastered all over there. Pimping that shit.
You don't. And it's funny because he is in Axis 3. He's a big part of that, but it has nothing to do with this story whatsoever.
Why would they do that? Like, I don't get it.
I have no idea.
I'm gonna have to run back
into the trade.
I'm gonna have to run back to the store and pick that up.
You have to. I GI Zombie, I get you slept on it, but this is right up your alley.
Okay, shit, I'm getting it now. There's a bunch in my shop still.
But yeah, I mean, I could talk about Axis 3. The dialogue went back. I liked the second issue, but the dialogue went right back, where Crusher Creed does like a rhyme when he's fighting, and it just drove me nuts. They get rid of Red Skull, who's supposed to be this huge threat, and he's taken out. And I get the feeling strongly that Doctor Doom's going to become the main villain in this. And yes, it's just a wasted opportunity. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I'm just thinking about Magneto when not Doctor Doom.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what happens is they're using magic and Scarlet Witch to do it, and that is one aspect I did like, is that they tied into Doctor Doom being a mage, and they rarely talk about that in comics, in a lot of modern comics, but he's not necessarily, Doctor Strange level, but he's pretty high level mage, and so he says, I'm going to help you out, and the whole dialogue leading up to that, they're like, Doctor Strange is thinking of a way to, not Doctor Strange, Doctor Doom is thinking of a way to take advantage of this situation. And I think he's going to. They don't show that. And the other aspect I liked about this is I'm liking Iron Man in this altogether, because he starts out as kind of a snarky, like the movie, like the movie character. And I always thought he was different than the movie character. And as this is going, he is mentally unwinding. Like, he's trying to keep humor going and all that while he's going, but you see his thoughts, and he's like, what have I done? What have I done? And it's making me want to check out Superior Iron Man if that's where they're going with the character. I don't know. Overall, Axis, though, if I was just reading it for what it is, has not been very good. If I'm going to be honest. There's some silver lining here or there. The dialogue drives me nuts. I hate puns that are... Unless you're Peter Parker or the Flash or something like that, get out of here with the puns. Yes. Anyway, that's my Marvel poll.
I think that's it for me. That's it. Yep.
Sweet. Any Marvel news we need to talk about? I can't think of any offhand.
Shield is still on TV.
Wow, is it really?
Yeah, I just thought I'd put that up for you guys.
Okay.
Is that good?
It's another issue or another season. Let's just put it that way. So it's all right for fanboys.
Okay, there you go. That's perfectly said right there. I love that. I love that.
No, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No. I mean, I still watch it every week. But I can't jump out and recommend it over some of the other shows that are out there.
At least you're honest. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And like I said, my biggest issue with it is that Shield, even the comic book Shield, has never really interested me. So,
I don't
have a problem if it's part of the background. I thought Shield was fine when it came to like the second Captain America movie. That it worked for that because it's kind of the backdrop of what's going on. But if Shield is the focus, unless it looks like a Steranko page, I'm not that interested. So.
Well, Travis, I would recommend though Secret Warriors, where Nick Fury has the young kids, and he's knocked outside of Shield, but it's Shield, it's Hydra, and then it's this other third party all fighting for the same power. I think you might like that one.
Okay. I'll check it out. Talk some indie books.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What do we got? What do we got for indie books?
I got a huge stack.
Hey, I got a
Bodies?
pretty healthy one too. Bodies,
I'm gonna
okay.
talk movies.
We can talk bodies.
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 Yeah.
I think this is the best. As screwed up as my camera is, I think you can actually see my covers.
Yeah. So you see yourself closer to the picture. Anyway.
Yeah.
So, I enjoyed this issue because I'm enjoying the characters and the story and whatnot, but I don't feel like our mystery, we got any advancement at all in this issue, did we?
No, I feel that everything is tying together more, like they're saying things in each time frame with that the previous one is. So, I mean, it's like, here's these words, it ties into this one, it ties into this one. And I feel, though, that we're learning less about the characters right now.
Right.
Because they're trying to show everything is together. So.
Well, yeah, and they hit the exact same notes with some of the characters they've hit in the past. It's like
Yes.
they didn't give us anything. Whereas in the past, I've liked this getting to know a little about the characters we move through, them trying to figure out what this mystery of these bodies are. In this one, it just hit the same notes. Yes, the guy from 1840 is a closeted homosexual, and they drilled that even further on this one, but it didn't add anything to him, nor did it add anything to our mystery, our Bogman, whoever it is, mystery and whatnot. The modern era one was a little interesting. I was a bit thrown to start out with. I thought she actually liked this guy, but clearly she did not like him, obviously, because she, basically, kicks him in the nuts and beats the hell out of him in this issue to get him off him, which is great. I mean, I love the fact that she's like, I ain't having it, so that was fine,
I thought it tied in a little bit with the future one because of the madness, because it's like when he says, that you're loved, right? It seemed to be repeated from the, that it was weird at the end.
I love that. She opens up, they got on top of the building and look out, because everybody's supposedly showing up, the people are showing up, it's happening or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's this, or what was it? They say something along the lines of,
harvest.
Here comes the long harvest, and there's this menagerie of them. There's a naked woman in there.
Yeah.
Let's blot that part out. Anyway, and of course clearly the sacrificial dude, being led by a leash by what looks to be like a barker from a circus kind of a thing. It was cool. I mean, there's some cool parts in it. I'm not saying that the book was bad. I enjoyed it. It just, this issue is the first issue that didn't feel like it moved anywhere.
Yeah, and I really felt that they were just trying to show that everything was tied together, because like the Barker says, you are loved, and then it kicks into the modern day time where you are loved, and it does make things more and more confusing because they're tying so more each of them together.
Mm-hmm.
And especially the sci-fi part of it, it's still, I mean, they're mentioning pulse waves are harmless, so you're getting more and more of these information, but because they speak all screwed up, it's just getting weirder and weirder.
Yeah.
Which I like. Because it's not going to be answered till probably the end.
Oh, definitely. But cool.
And I do like they tell you right on the cover it's 4 of 8, so that, you know exactly in the path where you are.
Right. Yeah. Enjoyable. So, any others? Anybody else dying? There's a book they talk about?
It's another week. That's screwed up on my cover. Drumheller. Let's just say Drumheller.
Oh gosh.
Drumheller has got the 3 little ghost children who have him in his werewolf form. They are ready to hang him, and he promises his children that are in his girlfriend's womb. He says, "I'll give you the bodies of these kids, and you can inhabit them." And figure out a little bit more about Drumheller's past, that he is a entity of some sort, a demon or a demigod, and his father gave him life to show how cherished life is.
Mm.
And like I said, it is screwed up, it is weird, it is nearly unexplainable. It works out very well with the Halloween theme. But Drumheller, if you're looking for something totally outside of all explanation, beautiful artwork. So I'll just leave it at that for that.
Cool. Now hold up, John. Are you
Yes.
eating peanuts? Are you mocking me?
No, I'm eating a Canadian dessert called the Flaky.
Okay. Okay, as long as it's not peanuts. Okay.
No, I'm allergic to peanuts.
Are you? I think I am too. Anyway, any other indie books we want to talk about?
I have. Well, someone else go. I have a couple though that I'll just do brief.
Revival?
I'm just gonna say, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles meets Ghostbusters.
Oh. Sweet.
Yeah.
There we go.
Someone owes me $350.
Oh. So despite those both being classic things, the mix of the two together is not good, huh?
It was super slow. I'm not gonna dress it up with, it's all set up for the next issue. Give me a break. It was, oh god. I would have loved it, when I was 7 maybe, but
Oh.
I think it's 6 issues? 7? I don't know. Anyways, let's not talk about that book, man. It's
Okay,
just a.
cool.
Yeah, I'm just gonna get it for the covers and look inside and pass it down to my nephews or something like that.
Did you read Revival, John?
Yes, I did.
With zombie deer?
Yes, the
That's-
opening scene.
That's an interesting
They were
implication,
saying-
huh?
Yes, yeah. It actually it brought me back to a title I was pulling called The Other Dead, which Eastman had his finger on.
Right.
That reminded me of that. The way it was drawn as well looked exactly like it. So yeah, it was pretty. I found it pretty cool that they were doing reciting the birth of the right to baptism, Saint John the Baptist and stuff like that. When they should have done another practice, another thing that they do is during a baptism is the rite to exorcism by St. Benedict.
There you go.
As soon as that happened, I'm like, what the heck? But anyways, it was Go on. I'll feed off you what you're saying.
No, I mean, as always, love the title. It to me, it continues to be kind of a Twin Peaksy kind of a thing. There's always glimpses at answers and lots more questions. You just get to see these people trying to figure out, living in quarantine, how do they deal with each other, and then of course the whole revival thing, the zombies. In this issue, we get a bigger glimpse at the farm, the quote-unquote farm, where they keep the revivalists that have gone off the deep end, that have gone totally bonkers. They kind of lock them down there, house them there, and just kind of watch over them and study them. And it's full of absolute freaks. It's got the little girl that continues to cut her eyelids off. It sounds like she's finally quit doing that.
The guy they think they have on ice.
Right, yeah, the guy they think has been in a coma this entire time. Which no, every night he gets up and goes off and is like Army Ranger whacking people and doing all kinds of stuff that we don't even know why he's doing it. But he seems to have a mission that's kind of interesting. He's in this issue, right? That's him.
That's him, isn't it? Where
choking out the chief.
Yes, and then he saw the newspaper article and he's like, "Oh my gosh, my little girl."
Right. So that's
that
all. I think it's him. I don't know who else it would be. They would be all dressed in black like that.
I know.
So
But,
lots of really interesting stuff in there. This implication that animals could be revivalists too is really interesting, because they thought the water was fine. Now they're questioning whether or not the water is bad again, because now that it's starting to become spring, the rivers are thawing out, and these
Right.
animals that were trapped in the river now suddenly may be free and loose to
Mhm.
You know, so now they're back to wondering whether or not the water is dangerous again, because nobody knows how their revivalists started and whatnot. And what is it with the freaking teeth pulling? Is that the same lady? Is this the lady that they killed at that one point?
I don't think so,
So it's
Travis.
somebody else, so it's somebody else pulling all their teeth out?
It's everyone. Everyone pulls their teeth out. Now, because of the teeth pulling thing, I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to think now. Is this witchcraft or is this like Native American folklore and whatever native folklore? Because
Yeah,
both have something to do with teeth.
right, because I mean, we also had that one scene where, you know, back with the professor, and that one person kicks that like can open, and it was full of teeth too. Somebody had been there
Yes.
pulling teeth also. That's
Yes.
just, you know. Whereas we got the first scene with the teeth pulling in the very first issue.
Yeah.
The reason the lady was
Exactly.
pulling her teeth was to get her dentures to fit in right, because her dentures
Yes.
kept fitting wrong because her teeth kept growing back in.
Yes.
You just kind of think, oh, that's just really weird and really creepy seeing this kitten play with all these little teeth, right? But now it's become more than that. And that's driving me more nuts about the book than anything else, this whole teeth pulling thing. I don't know, that's just
Me too.
awesome.
And that's why I've been.
Cover,
Yeah.
as always,
all-
cover's beautiful.
And this one complaining that it's too sharp. So there's some discomfort. Now I'm trying to think like what teeth is used in folklore, like with witchcraft and Native Americans. They say it's used for protection, but I don't know what's it used for here, or like what is the significance with the teeth in these people? What is it? I don't know.
Yeah,
But
I love it. It's just,
I love it too. And more about the pregnancy, the baby. I knew it was the professor. Since I knew for so long.
yeah, you called that early on for sure.
Yeah. Now, when this 3 months, this flashback she had, not a flashback, but talking like when she was like doing the math. Oh my God, it's the professor. Now, is this before? This is way before, obviously, before she died, before Revival Day.
Yeah.
Now, this is gonna show us how she died or whatever, or who killed her.
That's just it. Did she jump off the bridge or did somebody kill her? We still don't have an answer to
I
that.
think he killed her. I've always said he killed her. I think he killed her.
Mhm.
Because of the.
Right. I don't know. I love the book.
She told it in his face that I'm just a 20-year-old that you like to tap once in a while, whatever. Yeah. Basically, yeah. That's what you wore. There's no emotion. He doesn't love you, and I think that's what it was. I think the keeping the baby, something like that, freaked him out because of, he really loved his wife.
So you think she forgot that she was pregnant?
No.
Because that doesn't make sense then. He wouldn't have killed her because she was pregnant, because she didn't know she was pregnant. She didn't know she was pregnant until here very recently, right?
Oh yeah, you're right. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm getting ahead of myself right here. Yeah, but I just think he's the one that killed her. I think so.
Yeah. Could be. I don't know if we're ever going to find out.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk a little about. How about Goners? Anybody else get Goners?
I did.
I almost did, but
I didn't like the art, but I liked the Scooby-Doo-esque feel to it, with a little bit of a dark side to it. I like
Right.
that.
Yeah.
Uh,
See, that's kind of where I am with it too. I like the premise of the story. Basically, come from a long line of family of ghost busting, monster fighting family. They make a living at doing it. The paranormal basically exists in some sense. Everybody knows it does in some sense. This family goes about dealing with that. Well, in this issue, basically the premise is mom and dad die under very violent circumstances, and something also goes after the kids. So it leaves basically a 17-year-old and like a 10-year-old and their bodyguard is what's left, trying to figure out what's going on, why they're being hunted, and that sort of thing. And the Scooby-Doo-esque of it, yeah, it does kind of have that, because it's, at least to start out with, it's very kind of lighthearted. I mean, the mom is hanging out of the window, about ready to fall to her death, and the husband's like, "Oh, hold on a second," while he stakes yet another vampire. It seems very casual, like this is a normal day in the life of, of these people, and then it all goes horribly wrong, because there is definitely some dark and sinister aspects to it. The art, whereas I like this cover, the rest of the cover, the cover art I've seen, I do not like, and yeah, I don't know, it's caricature art, but not in a way that I like. It reminds me kind of like the art from I Heart Trouble.
Yeah.
Kind of bigger eyed kind of a thing. I don't know. It just didn't. It doesn't really. So I'm gonna give another issue to read before I decide whether I'm dropping it off my poll. Because I actually put it on my poll.
Okay.
So if the next issue really grabs me story-wise, the art isn't so bad.
Exactly.
Who's the artist?
The artist is. Ask me to read people's names.
Sorry.
I don't know, George or Jorge. It's George with a J. So you tell me. Corona, Corona. So.
Okay.
Nobody.
It looks like Drew Roush from my pick of the week. My pick of the week. That's coming up last.
So it was interesting. The premise is cool. I just not 100% sold on the execution yet.
Yeah. What about John talked me into picking up a book that I don't know where it is, but I got it because of him.
Okay.
And I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it made me want to go pick up the Big Trouble in Little China books, because is it kind of similar to that, where it's just a continuation? We're talking about Edward Scissorhands.
Beautifully done. Absolutely. A lot. These people that are writing the books are huge fans of these movies, and I love that. The passion shows, and that's what I'm all about. Edward Scissorhands. It's a mini, which is cool, but was pretty damn
Look
awesome.
at that cover.
Yeah, this one's nice, eh?
Yeah.
It's called the DC variant. No, I'm joking. I love that. This is the cover I had pulled. Actually, I didn't have it pulled. I didn't pull this book, but he took it out of someone's bin that was pulled and gave me the subscription variant. I love it, man. Isn't it kind of like whimsical Edward Scissorhands, and all of a sudden, boom, blood?
Yeah.
It's awesome. It's awesome. It pays total homage to the movie.
It was kind of out of left field at that, but it still fit. It didn't feel like, okay, no, this took me out of it. It was enough where you felt like, okay, this fits still, and it fits even with the film a little bit too.
Exactly. It's like the ending of it.
Yeah.
Like the ending of the film, it's like, it's all, Tim Burton's stylist, and then that whoever that guy is, that new, I guess his brother, let's say brother technically, well, built by the same master. Man, he's like freaking me out. I can't wait, and he escapes. So I can't wait for this. I'm so excited for it. I don't know. I just love it. Without any expectations at all. And I was like, beautiful. Love it.
I was just apprehensive about it because I forgot, like, years ago there was something that came out that was supposed to be a continuation. And so when Big Trouble in Little China came out, I was like, I'm not touching that, even though that's one of my favorite movies of all time. Love that movie. And so is Edward Scissorhands, so I was a bit nervous that way. But it's well done, and it doesn't feel like it's hurting the film by, doing what they're doing. Yeah. So, surprise. That was a surprise of the week for me. Look at that.
Now, so if you guys can see that, look at that. Silent panels. Perfect Edward Scissorhands, it's done. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, yeah, because you can't have a lot of dialogue with Edward Scissorhands, right? I mean, at least he shouldn't be talking a whole bunch.
No.
Kind of.
Yeah, but someone, I can't remember her name. She did a video, and she said something that was like totally true. This reminds me of the Beetlejuice cartoon, the animation. Totally. So, yeah, exactly. Like, I usually stay away from the books that are like, come from movies and stuff like that. So for Big Trouble in Little China, I go after the ones I love, and it's been a sequel, and the dialogue is down to the T exactly. It's like I'm watching the movie when I'm reading it. Oh my gosh, these guys got it. But John Carpenter has his hands on it too, so.
See, and I didn't know that. If I would have known that, I would have probably been more readily checking it out.
Excuse me, Mr. Button? Like, it's perfect when he says it, you know, you can tell.
Yeah.
You can hear them, you know? Two girls with green eyes.
I mean, if they can resurrect Anthony Michael Hall, it'll be the perfect book for me.
I love
That's
that.
all.
That 10-minute scene with the crowbar,
Yeah.
beating on Richard's hands, oh my gosh, that's awesome.
hmm
Anyway, that was great.
Vincent Price, just somehow bring him back, and then I am sold on this. As Egghead, though, not as the character. Anyway.
Okay.
I'd read the hell out of that. Did anyone else pick up Colder?
No.
No, man.
It's an acquired taste. I'm not gonna. I think T picked it up,
Yeah.
and I think Matt Cameron picked it up too. So I'll talk with them about that. It's super acquired taste. It's a super dark book. Really
Does it take off from the first one? Because I know there was a trade or whatever. I mean, there was a Does it take right off from that, or can you read without having to have read the first?
It would enhance the experience if you read the first one, but you can totally get in here and read it and you'd be fine. It's not necessarily like, I think with our superhero books we're like continuity, and with our independent books we're like throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks, and that's kind of where this is.
Okay.
Thoroughly enjoy it. If you're a fan of horror comics, like old school ones, it's for you.
Ah, damn, why did you say that?
Mhm.
I don't want it.
Because you need more books.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, God.
I picked up Five Ghosts. Anybody else reading Five Ghosts?
I got it for the cover.
I slept on that series, and I've been regretting it ever since because I've never heard anyone say anything bad about it.
No, I did. Do you know what something bad about it?
You?
Running with Comics, the first issue, he goes, "Oh God, this is the worst," and now he loves it.
I know. He said it was the worst. We're all like, "No, dude, you gotta stay with it." And by issue 2 or 3, he's like, "Oh my God, this is awesome." Yeah, I remember that. I love it just for the art, if nothing else. That cover right there says it all.
The best.
I don't know. You know,
That's the cover of the month.
if you don't dig that, I don't know. I don't know you.
That's
or
total
something.
right there.
What number is that?
This is issue number 13.
Okay.
There are 2 trades out of it. Get it in trades if you don't want to pick it up in singles. I always love the art in it. That's the greatest thing about this. It to me, I will continue to use the description is I look at this book, and I just think of my version of Saturday morning cartoons back when they actually had Saturday morning cartoons, and watch them. It just has that kind of Johnny Quest kind of a feel and vibe to it.
You're making me regret it more.
The character is awesome. Him tapping into these 5 spirits that allow him to be kind of the equivalent of Robin Hood or the equivalent of Sherlock Holmes or the vampire or the samurai. It just all kind of plays into that. He's in this issue. He's started. This is a new adventure. He's chasing after. He's trying to find his. He's trying to find his friend. His friend is has been like either kidnapped or has ran away or something like that. His best friend. He's looking for his best friend, and so he's using his his Sherlock Holmes skills, and then he ends up using his Robin Hood skills to fight some zombie type things in here. And there's this basically perfect for this month because I think this is going to play more on the horror part of things. They're going to be fighting monster, zombie, that sort of thing in these issues, which have been kind of cool. But
Travis, those pages you just showed, were they purple?
Yeah.
They were purple.
Yeah. Purple is a definite color that gets used in here a lot. The zombie skin tone tends to be kind of a purplish mauve type hue and whatnot. Always light on dialogue. I don't think there's almost never a box of text, like somebody thinking or whatever. It just isn't in here. It's mostly reliant on the artist telling the story. I mean, it's really a lot of action and a few words kind of a thing. It's a very quick read. If are upset by the fact you can't just tear through the book, or that you do just tear through the book, maybe not for you. But it's just really, really enjoyable. I mean,
I love that cover. I almost got it just for the cover.
Yeah,
I read it in trade, and like you said,
coins.
Yeah.
Oh, what was that about the trade?
Well, I read it in trade, and like you said, yeah, you do go through it very quickly, but then you go through it again.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was excellent.
Did anyone's shop have a sale today? Because that's what I was doing. I was going to scout out to see if I could find that trade.
I got
long gone.
Lots of shops today.
Yeah, long gone. I was so mad. I was like, I want to get the 5 Ghosts trade because they had sales on trades and everything. I was like, perfect. But
shit, you know.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna do that.
Sherpanaut's informing me that, of course, 5 Ghosts has also been opted for a television show, HBO or Showtime, he believes. It has. I know it's been opted. I didn't think it was HBO or Showtime. I thought it was the Sci-Fi Channel or something along those lines that had opted it, but I don't remember for sure. And that may be why it's a little harder to come across, because all the speculators jump on the book when that happens. But beautiful, beautiful artwork. To me, it's that kind of old school style. All the shading, all the shadowing, the textures, all that cross-hatching and stuff that's all done is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Any other books?
From the angle I was sitting at, I didn't realize you were a woman. I thought you were Jesus. So this is freaking me out right now. I didn't know when to throw that in. So anyway.
You aren't the only one. You aren't the only one that said that. That I'm Jesus with lipstick. So.
Oh.
I have a.
Yeah. Oh, okay. No, I like the costume.
My hair.
For indies,
go ahead.
I did pick up Baldur's Gate, the Legend of Baldur's Gate.
I played that video game.
Yeah, if you played the video game, the only reason to pick it up. It is very much like it is Minsk. Only reason to pick that up.
Yeah.
The Delinquents, I did not. It's the mixture of Quantum and Woody and Archer and Armstrong. It's a quick little, I think 5 or 6 issues that they're going to do together. I did not know the song. I should say I knew the song, "The Big Rock Candy Mountain," and in here they explain the Big Rock Candy Mountain is all about hobos. It's about getting to that promised land, the treasure, and they find that the treasure of the hobos is on Big Rock Candy Mountain, which is Devil's Tower.
Oh.
So that's where they're at with the story. So once again, funny, enjoyable. It's you pick it up because it's a good laugh. And Anderson, Side Division, Judge Dredd. It's a Judge Dredd book with her. It continues to be good. The artwork is very tight on it. I liked it, and it continues an old Judge Dredd storyline back when he was battling people that had psi abilities. So I enjoyed it. It was an excellent book.
Yeah, I almost got that.
Maybe pick up the Mimic or a Mimic.
I don't know. The solicitations it didn't get me, but that's why I'm here. Go ahead.
So I took a chance on a Tenan book because everybody keeps talking about Woods being so awesome that his independent
Don't
stuff.
compare the two.
I'm not. I'm just explaining why I picked it up because, of course, anybody who watches a lot of me, I'm always kind of not really positive when it comes to Tenan. So I picked this up. It's kind of cool. It's creepy. The premise is somebody releases this a meme of a happy make you feel good sloth, and see, there it is. You're all cursed now. And it brings about the apocalypse. It's actually a piece of psychic warfare that nobody knows how it works, but it makes you feel really good, and you just want to stare at it all the time. And after about 12 hours, you start bleeding from your eyes, you scream, and you start murdering people. And they discover that these people are basically dead. They have zero brain activity, but they're stomping around murdering people. So one of our main characters is colorblind, and for some reason it doesn't work on him. And another one of the main characters is blind, so it doesn't work on him.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, it's 3 issues. I'm gonna pick it up because it starts out kind of an apocalypse. It says day 3, and it starts out with our main character walking down an alleyway, and pretty much everything's dead and destroyed.
Did you pull that, Travis, or did you pick that up from your?
I pulled it.
Oh, you pulled it. Okay.
Yeah, I pulled it. It sounded interesting enough. I personally think memes are kind of creepy anyway. Just the whole insipid, that. I don't know, you put a cat video up and everybody freaking sends it all over the place. And this kind of touches on some of that. There is a government, a young woman who's kind of writing a term paper, plus also kind of work for the government, who's friends with the blind guy who kind of talks about the whole how we send all this crap out to everybody and that's what we spend all of our time doing kind of a thing. And I don't know. I thought it was pretty interesting. I mean, I'm not a big, super big fan of the artwork and whatnot, but curious to see what it's about.
I don't know. It didn't
grab you, huh?
No, when I was reading in previews, I had to hang out with the boys, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna get it. But the woods, that's the story. I love that.
Whatever.
Oh, come on. Sheltered, on its way out. My beautiful Sheltered. I love this book so much. Issue 12. I love it so much that I haven't read it yet. But from the last issue, things are shaping up to look like it's going to be a Waco showdown. Same thing, Waco, Texas style. Do you guys know any backstory about this at all? Anyone knows anything? No? Kids.
I saw they're survivalists. Kids kill their parents, right?
Yeah. Doomsday preppers killed their parents. Just chaos. This, obviously the camp is divided. There's the kids who are like, oh my God, you killed our parents, and then there's the other ones that agree with the leader, who is kind of like Jack from Lord of the Flies. Exactly the same feeling from Lord of the Flies, where kids on their own, it's like, oh my gosh, look at the shit that goes down. I'm gonna skip forward ahead now, and it's gonna be right now. Finally, it's that we're at issue 12, and the cops have been notified, and they're on their way to the compounds. And I flipped through a few pages, and all I saw was bullets everywhere. This is gonna go down big time. I just can't wait. Every single issue has been nonstop action, suspense, and just crazy graphic violence. Jonathan Christmas? I don't know what his name is. Art. It's great. You guys see him trade, pick it up. Give it a shot. We're into that sort of thing.
If you're into children murdering their parents.
Constant Bromstar is actually the only person I know who pulls Sheltered, and he's still pulling it. As we go on our Sheltered fangasms about this book every time. Did you read Sheltered? Yeah, man!
There's somebody else. There's somebody else out there that reads it, too. I just saw a video talking about it. I don't remember who it was.
If you can't remember them, they're not important.
Oh, okay. What's your name?
I don't know anyone who reads Sheltered. It's just weird spot.
Wicked and Divine? Anybody reading Wicked and Divine?
I dropped it.
Yeah, me too. On the way out of the shop.
I could have kept reading it, but it really made me think, am I buying this just for the art? Because the story wasn't doing much for me.
Mm-hmm.
But the art's amazing. I'll give it credit there.
Yeah, continues to be that. It's I really enjoy it. It's becoming more and more, I think, kind of a commentary on pop culture. What does it take to be the star? And then once you're the star, what does that mean? I think there's getting to be more and more that here. I was really shocked by this issue because there's one of the people I thought was a main character. I don't think is a main character anymore after this. So I was really, really surprised. It didn't occur to me that something like that would possibly happen. This issue is interesting because there's actually fighting in it, and this is not a fighting, comic book. The gods kind of throw down on each other a little bit in this one because Lucifer she's decided she's not going to hang out in jail anymore, and so she's just strolling around kind of wrecking everything that gets in her way. And kind of losing her shit because she doesn't really know what to do now. But of course, isn't going to let anybody else know that. She's acting all tough and just making things worse and worse. And so her deity friends show up to try and convince her that she needs to go back to jail and mellow out, and things kind of go all over the place. I'm still really enjoying it. I'll keep getting it. It's one of those books that I enjoy it as I'm reading it. I think I'm going to get more out of it also when I go back and read the whole thing over again and whatnot. But it's not something that I would necessarily recommend to anybody else because it is so kind of a stylized, its own kind of a thing. I don't know what I compare it to. If you haven't read other of their work, I don't know what to tell you as far as it's like this or something like that to tell whether or not you'd enjoy it or not. So I do love the...
Would you compare it? You would compare it to Young Avengers?
No.
I was about to say.
No, I would compare it to Phonograph. Okay. To their other independent work, that kind of what got them broke them into comics in the first place. I really enjoyed that. That was kind of another kind of exploration into pop culture. It was more based on music and that sort of stuff, and exploring that. And I really enjoyed those. But if you haven't read those, like I said, there's nothing else. That's what I would compare it to in a sense. But no, I would not compare it to. It has some elements of Young Avengers in it because of the way they stylize stuff, the way characters kind of are. There's some of that elements in there, but it's much more certainly much more introspective than what a superhero the superhero book is. The superhero book kept most of it really light, and this never does. So yeah. The title of this issue is Sympathy, and if you happen to be somebody who's reading this and haven't read it yet, you'll know why it's called Sympathy by the time you're done, I think, because one of the characters is Lucifer in it. So, Rolling Stone.
Yeah.
Sympathy though. Anyway, read a book. Yeah. So I'm also still picking up Letter 44. I actually really enjoyed this issue, despite the artwork. Things are really hitting the fan all over the place, and just generally. This was an exciting issue because we have basically alien incursion on the ship now. Things are completely out of control. People did some stuff in the political field thinking, well, if I sleep with this person, they'll kind of go my way, and that blew up in their face, which I liked. Instead of it being stereotypical, it all backfired, so that was cool. Last indie book I got was Stray Bullets Killers, issue number 8. Which is the ending of this arc. People seem to think that this book is not an ongoing. It is an ongoing. He's just writing in chapters, and each chapter is titled something. This chapter, the first 8 issues, was Killers. The next that'll start in January is called Sunshine and Roses. And this issue ends incredibly brutal, as per usual for any Stray Bullets type stuff. It's nothing pleasant ever happens. It's awful, and it's really cool. And I still think it has some of the best character artwork in it. Just simple black and white, but the paneling is really good. The sense of movement, the sense of whatever action, desperation, all the stuff that goes on in it is just captured really well. Yay! That's my books.
Oh. About your favorite Walking Dead. That's my last one.
Sweet. So what's going on in Walking Dead?
Oh, we're getting a new set of characters introduced, and kind of freaked me out because for a few issues there, the zombies were whispering and talking.
What?
Yeah. I was like, oh my gosh, Rick and I had a hangout, and we're like, oh my goodness, it actually jumped the shark. They're communicating now, but apparently it's a group of people who are
wearing suits.
Oh. They're skinning them and putting on. But it's just an amazing strategy because they get so close and they go with the herds. These, hundreds of walkers all over the place. And as soon as they approach the person or the group that they're going to attack, they pull out. They start defending themselves with knives and sticks, and it freaks out the other guys. It freaks out the other characters. Like, what the hell? They got weapons, and they're gonna dominate, man. This issue is kind of slow. It's building up. We don't really have an origin yet of this group. It was more about Carl doing his apprenticeship as a blacksmith. But we got a little bit of
Carl.
A little bit of, yeah, Carl. Yeah,
Damn it, Carl.
he's not with his father. Rick just left him with the other community. I forgot the name. Anyways, he left him. So he's growing up. He's a teenager now, and girls are in the picture and stuff like that. I like it.
I'm reading it in trade, and so I'm
Look at this
up
guy.
to. Yeah.
It was cool. I'm actually interested in this new group, this Sick and Twisted. Come on, man! They're peeling faces off these walkers and like.
Yeah.
That's pretty insane.
Well,
Now, I know what you're thinking. Go ahead.
I mean, that makes sense. Obviously to hide amongst the herd. I mean, if you're we've
That's
seen that.
Michonne's strategy.
Right. So that works, but
Couldn't they get shot?
But continuing with the herd, and actually helping the herd annihilate other people, to me seems insanely brutal. I mean, that is macabre beyond macabre. I mean, that's.
That's.
I mean, so basically, they've decided in some sense that the zombies are the alpha male, and that's what we're going to go with because that's what's going to be the winning thing. I would love to know more of the mentality behind those people, because how do you come to that decision is pretty insane.
Well, what I'm loving is the TV show's just getting into the hunters right now,
which is an amazing arc.
Oh my gosh, I love that arc. So watching the people react to that, it's like it gets worse.
Oh yeah.
It gets worse. I wasn't sure if they were going to do it, if they were going to have them be cannibals. I was like, I hope they actually have them start eating people, because that was the part that freaked you out the most.
Yeah, and he did. It's amazing. Yeah. I love the Hunter's art. Like, this is crazy shit to go down.
Yeah.
I love it. But this is amazing. We're getting a little bit of panels of this group, and just from the few things that they said. First of all, they reveal themselves because we're hearing these little whispers. The way the text is written, it's a whisper. But, we're like, oh my god, the zombies are talking. Ew, phooey.
Yeah.
It's like Return of the Living Dead, brains, Right. But, and then when he pulled his mask and said, you have no idea how big we are. I'm thinking it's like, they're huge. This is going to be a huge. I think Rick and his group of, the group that we all know, have met their match. Every time we come into this huge arcs, it's like, oh, that's it. They've met their match. Nah, I think they've met their match.
Did you just spoil to me that Negan's dead?
No, I did not, because he's not dead.
Okay, I was just saying.
I'm gonna spoil more. He's not dead.
All right.
Rick's trying a new system of keeping people alive, and you're gonna be punished. So he's actually in jail. It's pretty cool. Yes. Isn't that Henry Rollins? He reminds me of Henry Rollins, eh?
Yeah. Like, if he started singing Black Flag, I'd be like, all right, I'm down for this.
It's pretty cool stuff, It's still $2.99.
Yeah, I like fatalist stuff, so it's for me. Yeah, that's why I like it.
Right on. Any other books we want to talk about tonight? Or anything else? Whatever?
I got every comic book day, Halloween Comic Fest.
Lucky for some people.
Yeah, they're all upstairs though. Damn, I would have showed you them. Yeah.
Anything really?
Rachel Weising, Rachel Weising orange cover. Another Afterlife with Archie. Batman Long Halloween special.
Yeah, I saw the cover for that. Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Someday I'll be someplace where they have comic book stores to do things like that.
That's ridiculous. I live in the middle of nowhere too, and I got a decent shop close by. So.
So you don't really live in the middle of nowhere.
Oh no, it's a drive. It's a drive, but
it's not that I just live in the middle of nowhere. It's also the fact that I live around a bunch of heathens, clearly, that don't read comic books. That's the problem.
Travis,
Yes.
do what the guy did near my my vacation home in Wasaga Beach. There's a little town called Innisfil, Ontario.
Mhm.
There's no comics. There's like you got to drive like an hour and a half to a comic book shop, maybe two.
Mhm.
He opened up a shop. He converted his garage into a comic shop. This guy's rad, man, and it worked. Every time I go on vacation, I'm like, it's Wednesday, comic book day. I'm like, I never miss a comic book day. And he's like, he's there with his dog, you know, he walks barefoot in his garage.
That guy's figured it out, though. That's the problem.
Yeah. Living the life. I don't think I can do that, so. Cool. Yeah, well, I guess that's it for the night. Thank you all for joining us on this Halloween night to see us dress up in our lovely costumes. You know, and it's been fun. And I'm not sure if we're back next week. I think I've actually got commitments that have got me tied up the entire weekend. But I'll discuss that later to know whether or not for sure. But thank you guys for coming along. And thank everyone for watching tonight. And just to be clear, I am not Jesus. But there you go.
No, we meant the costume, not you in person. You are, of course, Jesus in person.
Okay. Oh, thank you for that. Anyway, it's been fun, and have a great night, everybody. Have a wonderful Halloween next week.
Happy Halloween!
Enjoy your comics and your candy. Good night.
Give me some candy!